Alright, we're going to try this out with this rifle. I have to figure out a proper table setup with this tripod and the camera and all this. It's going to be a mess. Anyways, this is the MR556. And this video is going to be because I have to do it before I do the review, so I can address all the things about the rifle that everyone wants to hear that hates it. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be one of those videos where it's me bitching about something I bought on purpose, like all those retards on YouTube, like, oh, this is the 5 things I hate about my Maserati, or this is the 5 things I hate about my Ford GT, or the 10 things, or whatever. Like, you bought it, man. You knew what you were getting into. Same thing with me. I knew what I was getting into, but there's a few discussion topics about this rifle specifically that need to get addressed, I guess. Let's get started. First thing is, the biggest thing that everybody complains about is the barrel. 2 things about the barrel. The profile, because it's a very, very thick, heavy barrel. It's probably, honestly, other than that ridiculous one that Colion Noir had years ago, it's the thickest production barrel that I've seen. I'm not saying it's the thickest out there. I'm just saying of all of the guns that I've seen, LWRC, Noveske, everybody, direct impingement or piston, this is the thickest barrel I've seen. Also, it's not chrome lined, which means it's automatically inferior to everything on AR15.com. Meaning, Joe Bob's rifle that he put together in his garage is better than this rifle automatically because it doesn't have chrome lining. Now, I'm not going to bore you with what German export laws are and US import laws, and what's funny is everyone can justify it for any other gun but not this one. And yes, I know it's assembled in the United States. However, they're still exporting pieces from Germany to the US. The barrel is not chrome lined, and despite the fact that it is still a cold hammer forged barrel and a very, very high quality barrel, it is not chrome lined. Now, what does that mean? It's considered a match barrel, but it's kind of a hybrid match barrel because it's still cold hammer forged, Canada grade steel, with a 1 in 7 twist, but it's not chrome lined. It has its own internal treatment process that's proprietary HK metallurgical stuff that I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you here. But what I do know is the harmonics are perfect, and all you have to do is every 5,000 or 6,000 rounds pour some copper solvent into the barrel and clean it and take the copper deposits out of the barrel. You treat it like any other match barrel, but where it shines is you can do high volumes of fire and get it pretty warm where you couldn't do that with a normal stainless barrel. So now that the barrel's out of the way, the other point of contention is it's a piston system. I'm not going to get into DI versus piston. They're cults. The other thing that's not necessarily that great about this rifle is the takedown procedure, which honestly is a complaint of mine, but I understand why they did that. I'm going to tell you right now, there's zero, and I mean absolute zero play between the upper and the lower. This is achieved by having the pins have their own internal detent. So not only is there a detent that holds the pin in place from completely falling out of the receiver, there's a detent inside. So you need a tool, which I don't like this either. Love the buttstock. Don't like that there's not a QD attachment, but I love this buttstock. It's comfortable and this pad is perfect, but I don't like this. See how it's worn on the end there? Well, in any case, there's a little transfer which wipes off, right? But what that means is my little rubber buttstock is going to be on borrowed time, so I'm probably going to have to order a couple more of these just to have for the one that I use all the time. So here's your takedown tool, and to take this apart you have to push it in and then kick the pin out, which is super annoying. But I forgive him for that because of the rigidity and stability that I gain from having it super tight. It's really difficult. So while I curse it every single day that I have to take it apart and clean it, it gives me enough that I don't really mind. Plus it's a piston, so it's usually pretty tidy on the inside. The other two complaints are hand in hand. They're not really from me, but they're from the AR-15 guys. The flared magazine well prevents every single manufacturer's magazines from going in there, and something to do with the bolt. And the stock magazine that you get with it, although now they're shipping the polymers for the CRs, I think the MRs, because I bought this one pretty recently, have the stainless steel magazines, which are very well built and feed perfectly, but they weigh 1,000,000 pounds. That is the heaviest magazine I've ever put my hands on. Luckily, and currently, being the firearm renaissance that we're going through these past 10 years, there are plenty of magazine options to insert into that gun. You can use GI magazines, you can use Magpul Gen M3P mags, which I do frequently. You can use HK's proprietary magazine, like is in gun right now, and their new polymer magazines, which are actually pretty affordable. So that's 4 magazine options, and I think Lancer mags fit, but I don't own any, and I don't necessarily want to buy one just to test it. The last thing, which I forgot to mention, this I don't like. I understand and respect why they did this, but I don't like this. This rail was on that gun when I bought it. It came off in 30 minutes. I bought the Geisley a long time ago, and honestly that Geisley makes the rifle, hands down. But this rail I don't like because of its circumference, but it's very well made, and the key mod setup that HK's developed is very robust. So I get why they did it. It's so they didn't have to pay Daniel Defense more money. It brought the cost of the rifle down like $100 or $200. But it's too thick. Now the reason it's this shape is on the CR556, which is the competition variant of this, it's intended to accommodate the OSS suppressor. But the one on the CR is almost as long as that rail right there. So with the suppressor equipped, it looks right. But without it, and with this shorter rail, this gun looked terrible. So that's why she's wearing the Geisley. But overall, and I'm going to save all this stuff for the review, but if this is the only video that you watch of me with the MR556, this is a fantastic rifle. I know there's an element of internet users on forums out there, and even on YouTube, that are like militant Christians or militant atheists trying to tell people not to buy this rifle, like trying to convince you never ever ever buy an HK MR556. And I'm going to tell you right now, most of the reason I have it is because yes, I do like HK. But what I will say is this is the most accurate AR I have ever fired in my entire life. It's never failed me, and it produces tiny groups with average and even tinier groups with the super expensive stuff. This is essentially an 18 or 20 inch SPR in a 16-inch package. So for everything it doesn't give you, it gives you benefits with what it does, if that makes sense. I know that was kind of a stupid way of saying it, but it gives and it takes, okay? You can't put a full auto sear in it. You can't run it full auto because the barrel is not designed to go full auto. It's just the way it is. If you want stay on Gunbroker, have about 35 grand on standby and get you a 416 upper. I think it's 10 grand, but the last two I saw that were 10 grand were scams. So if you have 35 grand on hand and it's 10 grand, then you got 25 left and you can buy something else. This gun is not perfect, just like every other rifle out there. And I think its quirks are acceptable enough for me to own it because I obviously do. And I had the privilege of firing one before I bought it. So I knew exactly what I was going to get into. And what's funny is, with the exception of the sling, the bad lever, and that particular optic, I shot an identically equipped rifle with an aim point on there. I forget which one it is. But it's a great rifle. I gotta be honest. It impresses me with its accuracy, and I've fired high volumes of fire through it without any degradation of accuracy, any performance loss, any damage to the rifle. So you can push out to range, but also do your close quarters stuff if you have to. So in my mind, it's a perfect package for the stuff that I do. But keyboard commandos out there, and they gotta tell you what's up. So, but advantages with the MR556, and my cats do not respect the fact that I'm making a video. So with that, I will wrap it up and try to figure out how to film these rifles. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other, stay safe, and support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Just gonna ruin my shot. Panda. Oh my God.